Hi, I'm Roy Murphy. You're watching the Bitconnect YouTube channel. Coming up in today's video, how to mine Bitconnect. Hello everyone, I'm Roy Murphy. Welcome back to the Bitconnect YouTube channel. Today we will be covering mining, how to mine Bitconnect. We've had loads and loads of requests via the team and via YouTube over the last few weeks saying we would love you to make a video on how to mine Bitconnect. We haven't found any, please can you let us know? So we'll do that today. And we'll go through it step by step and we'll try and make it as easy as possible. Anybody with a computer can do it, but we need to start from the beginning and we need to talk about, first of all, what is mining. So some of you will already know, some of you won't. Some just want to know that, it's the fourth layer of Bitconnect. You've got the trading, you've got the staking, you've got the lending, and then they want to get involved with the mining process as well. So what is mining? So let me take you back to the early days when I was involved early on 2009 2010 in Bitcoin. When I was part of the development team, there was very different methodologies then to what we use now. In the good old days, you could mine Bitcoin just with a processor, and processors aren't very good at doing single threaded tasks. CPUs are actually designed to do parallel tasks very efficiently. And it wasn't until later on that people started making an algorithm that could be used by a GPU, a graphics power unit, which is your graphics card in your PC or in your laptop. So there are two different ways. Now, when it comes to the algorithms used to be able to mine, whether it's Bitcoin or Bitconnect or any other altcoin, what you'll find is there are different applications that are better suited to different hardware. And you'll find that none of what I'm talking about today can efficiently be performed on your CPU. So your processor is no longer, it's obsolete as far as mining is concerned. It will actually cost you more power in energy costs to actually do the mining on a CPU. So CPU mining is now dead. So what I'm talking about now, I'm not talking about solo mining. This is what we used to do back in the good old days, 6-7 years ago. And that also is no longer really efficient unless you have all the gear like I do. Many tens of thousands of dollars worth of hardware to be able to do that efficiently, mining solo. So what we do now is we mine in a pool. Now a pool is an area where people get together in a community and they're all trying to fix or answer the question to a problem, and that problem is generated every 10 minutes, and there is a hashing algorithm that has to be solved, and during that solved algorithm the difficulty level every 10 minutes gets readjusted so that the power of the network will gain the answer to the question in those 10-minute blocks. So every 10 minutes it readjusts, and then you have a different difficulty level, and we'll go through all of those, how that works in a moment. So in the old days, if you were solo mining, if you just wanted one machine and you were trying to mine Bitcoin, for instance, what you used to have, or what still exists now in Bitcoin, if you look at all of the different elements of Bitcoin as a node, if you're trying to build a Bitcoin node, which is a master system for actually collecting transactional data and adding it to a complete blockchain, so you're actually hosting the blockchain, you have a public and a private encrypted key. So you are one of the network servers that is announcing the blockchain and the transactions, okay? So a miner, what a miner does, it takes a piece of the algorithm to encrypt the data, to encrypt the transactions and send it to a node, which will add the correct transactional block to the blockchain, which is the history, it's the ledger of every single transaction, whether that's Bitconnect or Bitcoin or any other altcoin that is a decentralized blockchain, will have an algorithm. And the algorithm is set with a difficulty level, and that difficulty level is set by the amount of people mining on the network. So mining, if you think of it like panning for gold, when the difficulty level is really easy, you go to the new world and you stick your pan inside a river, you go panning away. If you're in an area where there are gold seams, you will find gold. And the more you pan, the less there is, the bigger the machinery you need to use to be able to extract the same amount out. Then the expense for doing that becomes higher and higher. So you need to invest more time, more power, more energy into finding an amount of gold over a period of time. So this is why big industry now is involved in gold mining, because it's a very expensive effort. You now need to make massive quarries, and there is a finite amount of gold in the system. And this is exactly how BitConnect works, and this is exactly how the king of them all, Bitcoin, works as well. So there's a finite amount in the system. The way that you find it is set in a path which is going smaller and smaller over time, so there is less and less of it being produced in the same amount of time. And it's finite. It means there will be no more found one day. So the original function in Bitcoin was called get work. And this is part of the Bitcoin D. Now Bitcoin D, the D in Bitcoin D as a function, is called the daemon. And I don't mean the red guy with horns and a trident that lives downstairs. I mean a daemon spelt D-A-E-M-O-N. A daemon is a worker. It's a function within a node that actually it's an event listener. And what that event listener does is it says, these are the transactions, these are the blocks, these are the IP addresses for the network, you do the work, you send it to me, I will verify it and send you a key back. So that is the part of processing that your computer will do as part of the mining process. Are you still with me? I hope I haven't lost you yet. It does get more interesting, but this is the background for mining, and you really should understand what mining is before you want to take mining, because you have to know what you are giving your hardware that time for, and what the results are and how you are rewarded as a miner. So the get work was a JSON RPC. Okay, that is a method which is sent over an HTTP transport gateway. So HTTP, everyone knows what that is. If you look at my icon here and it says here HTTPS bitconnect.co, you will see HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and the S here is an added bit which is the security layer. It's a secure socket which actually encrypts all the data within the Bitconnect website. So HTTP is just your Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's the protocol used for you watching this video right now. Everything that you do on the internet is all done via HTTP. So it's an HTTP transfer. The JSON RPC is a JavaScript object notation over remote procedural call. So the RPC, the remote procedural call, is a set of binaries that is an acceptance and call functionality which actually sends information and receives it and then gives you a response. So it's you, your computer, speaking to a server. So you're speaking to an IP address on a server, you're giving it information, it's tracking it, and it's then expecting a response. So that's the RPC side of it. So the original get work function in Bitcoin only needed 3 responses or 3 things to tell it how to do some work, how to do the mining process. So it needed data, it needed a target, and it needed an algorithm. Okay, so the data that it needed is a pre-processed SHA-2 input chunk, and that's in little endian order as a hexadecimal encoded string. Now you don't need to know what all this is, but you can try, if you listen to me, you'll try and understand what these things are on the data. So the pre-processed SHA-2 input chunk, now it's chunked, means that the data isn't all in one string. It pieces it up from the different pieces of data that's being sent. The pre-processed means that it's already done the work, so it's a pre-processed SHA-2. Now SHA-2 is a type of algorithm for actually masking the real data, so it's a way of actually objectifying and hashing a set of code in order to actually encrypt it. So it's an encryption method. Now it's not the same encryption method used to actually encrypt the actual blockchain, which is a SHA-256 algorithm, which is a much higher, much more complex algorithm, but it's a hashed algorithm for actually encrypting the chunk of data going to the server. Little endian order. So a little endian is it's the order in which bits and bytes are actually selected, so it doesn't read the hexadecimal code as a line from left to right or right to left. It will actually take those chunks, those little tiny bytes, and it will put them in the smallest order first, so it reads it back to front. And it is a hexadecimal encoded string, so that's the data. Then you have the target. So the target is the proof of work hash target as a hexadecimal encoded string, and then you have the algorithm. So that is the specification for the proof of work. Okay, and that can either be SHA-256, which is the algorithm used by Bitcoin. It's a very energy hungry algorithm. whereas the script algorithm used by Bitconnect is the same algorithm with different protocol behind it, but it's the same algorithm that's used in Litecoin, which was designed to be a lighter, more efficient use of power to be able to encrypt the data. So that is the get work function that we used to use when we were solo mining in Bitcoin many moons ago. So it wasn't until 2012 when some people got together and thought, hang on a minute, it would be better if we joined forces and joined to a mining pool. These mining pools actually came up with a new protocol called Stratum. Now Stratum is an overlay protocol that was developed in 2012 to support all of the new methods in mining pools, and we'll take a look at some of those mining pools in a second. So some of those new methods are like get transactions and suggested difficulty levels, set difficulty. These are different layers that are now interpreted by these mining pools, so that you don't actually have to be a programmer to be able to encode this stuff to do it in the first place. In the old days, we were all programmers, we all used to do it, we all used to write our own scripts, and it was easy for us because that's what we used to do for a living. But it did mean that nobody else, you couldn't spread the good word of Bitcoin or any of these other altcoins later on unless you actually gave them methods. There was actually like a cheat sheet with all the different calls that if you sent that call to the server, it would understand you and say, yes, I know what a difficulty level is. I know what the get transactions code means and what output to give it. So this is where we get all of our mining software from. It uses this platform, this cheat sheet of quick codes in order to be able to do mining for everybody fairly easy. Now what I'm going to tell you now is, if you are of the intermediate level with just general computers, you should be able to get up and running from now in the next 5 minutes. So we'll go through that. I've waffled on more than enough, so let's actually talk about Bitconnect. So the first thing we want to do is to find a pool where we can mine. So if we scroll down in Bitconnect and go all the way to the bottom, go all the way to the footer, you can see you've got Bitconnect mining pool, and you've got one above which says Bitconnect mining. So if you go to Bitconnect mining pool, that will take you to Bitconnect's own mining pool. Now about 80% of all the mining done in Bitconnect is through Bitconnect mining pool, but I do want to give you all the options. So if you click Bitconnect mining, it will actually give you a list. So it will tell you about solo mining. If you want to know about solo mining, to be able to do that, you need to be a programmer, you need to have some technical programming experience to be able to do it, and you need the hardware to do it. So we're going to completely skip solo mining, okay? Because if you are up to solo mining, you won't need this tutorial at all. Pool mining, if you look here, if you've actually read it, it says once you're ready to mine Bitconnect coin, then it's recommended to join a mining pool. A mining pool are a large group of users who pool their resources together to solve the mathematical solution, finding a block, and the rewards are distributed proportionally to the work sent to the pool. So what you're doing is you're adding your computing power to solve the actual algorithm. So if you look at these 5 that are in their list, the top one is the Bitconnect pool that we didn't click on just now. This is the most. This has the most amount of users, and then every one as you go down the list actually has least amount of users to almost very few. So there are benefits of being in a very popular pool. The more users, the quicker that the pool will find blocks. The quicker the pool find blocks, the quicker you get paid. The difference is that the more people on the pool, the more people the reward has to be split by. So you can choose any of these in the list. The further down the list you go, the longer it will take you to get paid. Not necessarily, but it will take you longer, and the rewards will be higher. So if we go somewhere in the middle, I'm going to choose btccoinminers.info. This will take you to a mining pool. So ignore the advertising on the page because this isn't actually part of the Bitconnect pool. This is a separate pool. This is actually what's called an MPOS mining software. If I probably scroll down to the bottom, you can see, powered by MPOS. Now, I've done a lot of work for MPOS over the years, not for the last 2 years, but between 2 years ago and 3 years ago. If I click that, you can see that it is it's a mining pool open source. That's what MPOS stands for. It's open source because there's a community of people that actually build the stuff behind it. So you can see all the comments on the right hand side, and you can dig into all of these things. We've got various fixes, and it will tell you the date and time and who actually played around with it and made the changes. And when those new bits of code were brought in to make the system better. So I've worked on this for about 6-7 months. I was actually making my own coin, had my own mining pool, and obviously I wanted to understand it, and it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work on my servers, so I made a few edits to fix it. So I've actually been part of the MPOS system for quite a while. So that is the software. So most of these pools, or if not all of the pools, are powered by this free open source software. And what you will need to do is, first of all, is register. So you need to register here. So what you'll have to do is go to sign up. So you can choose any of these pools at all. And if you scroll down, you can set your username. Okay, you can set your password. You have to put in your email address and then repeat it. And then you will need to enter a 4-digit code. Now this is the PIN. This is a 4-digit PIN number, and every time you make a system change you will need to remember that PIN number, and then all you need to do is go, I accept the terms and conditions, obviously read them first, and then click register. You will get an email. Once you've confirmed your email, you will be able to log in. So I'll go to login. I've already created an area, so I've gone to the login, confirmed my email address, and this will take you through to the main page. So the first thing you will need to do, you've created a username, so your username will be your username when you mine. So my username is rmurphy. Okay, so that is my username when I do my mining. So when you're mining, you need to assign whatever computer or laptop or any piece of hardware you're using, you need to assign it a name, and that name of that machine is called a worker. So you need to create a worker name. So say for instance I'm going to be doing mining on my computer from home, and I'm going to be mining from my computer at the office, or I'm going to be mining from my laptop on a different day. So I want to create 3 different workers. So each machine will need a unique username. So what I need to do now is to create a worker. So I'm going to create one for this PC. So if I go to my account, you can edit your account details here. So on the account details page you have things like your username, it gives you your user ID, you've actually got your API key, which is an encoded key for recovering any lost coins. Email address will come up, you can select your time zone. What you will need to do is go to your Bitcoin wallet, or your Bitconnect wallet in this instance, and actually put your Bitconnect wallet address so that payments for your working will actually go directly into your wallet. There's an area for donating to the system, the people that actually host this website. I haven't got mine set, but you can set that to a set percentage. You can set your payment threshold, so I think the minimum payout is 0.01 Bitconnect coins, but if you just want it, if you leave it blank, it's automatic, or you can set it to auto payout. And then obviously to make any changes you need to put in your 4-digit PIN. So that is the accounts page. You will need to set a worker. Okay, so say I'm going to use this PC, I will create a worker. So I'll give my worker a name, I will give my worker a password, and then you go to add worker. Now I've already created a worker for you. So my username is rmurphy, and I've created a worker name as btcbruce. And I've created a password for it, which is demo1, and then you click update workers, and that is now receivable to do some work. Okay, so the name of my worker is btc1, my worker password is demo1, and my username is rmurphy. So that's all we need to do now. So what else is on the actual mining page? So the mining pool, we can go to the dashboard, we can go to statistics. So this is where you can see the blocks being found on the system. So this is all the people within this mining pool, what they're finding, and their shares. And if we scroll down to the pool, you can probably see the top miners in the list somewhere. No, that didn't click. Go to round. It takes a little time. Okay, so you can see the difficulty level. So this difficulty level, I won't go too much into what the difficulty level is, but this figure adjusts. The bigger the number, the higher the difficulty it is to actually find a block. And the reason why the difficulty changes is that as the network grows, the combined force of the network, if you add more computing power to it, the difficulty level needs to rise in order to keep the block being found every 2 minutes in Bitconnect's case, or every 10 minutes in Bitcoin's case. So the more computing power means that the answer to the question, the decryption of the code, will be found sooner. And the way that Bitcoin works is that the expected value is 0.0 and a number of zeros after that. So it's the decryption of the hash, and the resulting answer is a 0.0 something. And the higher the difficulty level, the more zeros it needs at the end. So it's saying, I expect a result of your decryption to be 0 with 16 zeros at the end. And then the power of the network will go up, and then it will find that quicker than the 10 minutes. So the difficulty adjustment needs to go up in order to keep the 10-minute blocks being found at a constant rate. So that's the way that Bitcoin scales as the network and the security grows. So the difficulty level goes up, and then as the network goes up. So that's the difficulty level, and that also works the same for Bitconnect. And then you've got the transactions and who credited and the amount that was credited to which user. So what we need to do now, so I've created, if I go back to my account and I go to my workers, I've already created a worker for this machine. So what we need to do now, we're all ready to go as far as the pool is. We've set our username up, we've set our worker name up, and we've set a password for it. So we now need to put that into some Bitconnect mining software on our machine. So what we need to do now is to download that. So we need to go to Google and search for BFG Miner. Okay, so BFG Miner is an automated script that will allow you to actually connect and use the power of your machinery, your GPU, your graphics card. So we go to bfgminer.org, and you will see that there's a 32-bit version for Windows and a 64-bit. I'm using the 64-bit because I'm using Windows and I've got a 64-bit processor. And there are versions as well for Linux. You've got Arch Linux, Debian, Gentoo, Ubuntu, and you've got the exact source code as well. So you can compile it into C, and you can actually compile it, if you're a programmer, you can actually do it on a Mac as well. So that's what you want to do. And when you download that, you will end up with a folder which when you've unpackaged it will have all of these scary looking files. So this is everything that makes the mining software work. And what we want to do, we need to create a script that will make the application itself. So the main application here that I've highlighted is called BFG Miner, and it's an execution file. So this is the start of the application. So we need to find the details. Remember we said that in mining pools it uses the Stratum protocol. So we need to tell BFG Miner file all the details about your connection. So we need to go back into the mining pool, and if we go down to help, it will tell you what you need to do. So if we go to getting started and then scroll down, it will tell you all of the configurations you need to actually, because you may not use this pool, so all of these settings will be different. But on this particular one, I need to go to the first one, other ASIC, which is application specific integrated chip. And for the EU and the US, there's different versions. Okay, so in the UK it will be Stratum, which is the protocol.coinminers.info, which is the name of the address. So all we're saying is that this is the protocol. TCP, which is the transmission control protocol. So it's Stratum plus TCP, and then the colon is the concatenator -- stratum.coinminers.info. The port that we need to connect to is port 6432, and what it wants is the username concatenated by the worker name, and then you need the worker password. Okay, so we need to add that, and what we need to do is to create within this here, all of these, all we need to do is to execute the BFG miner program, the application. So what we need to do now, the first thing we need to do is to create, in Windows at least, a batch file. The batch file has an ending in .bat, .bat. So we can call it anything we want, because what we're going to do is use that file to execute BFG miner with the details. So we're not going to recompile it, it's already compiled. What we need to do is to give this execution file all the information we need. So what we need to do is to create a new text document. Okay, so I've created a new text document. Oh, click off that. Let's try it again. New text document. So we'll open this one. So it's blank. Okay, so I've opened this up in Notepad, and what we need to do is to take that information and enter the details here. So what we're doing now, I will copy and paste this code into YouTube, so at the bottom in the comments you can actually copy and paste and put this in your own script. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're saying BFG miner, that is the name of where we're going. So if I go back to here, we're aiming it at BFG miner, the execution file. Okay, so that's what that is. Script. So there are various different scripts. So this is a script called script with Y, and script is the algorithm that is used by Bitconnect. Now, Bitcoin uses SHA-256, which is a different script, a different algorithm. So this is the algorithm. So it's --script -O, so O stands for object, and the object, it means where am I pointing it, and you are pointing it at stratum plus TCP /stratum.coins-miners.info, and then you concatenate that with a colon, and then you put the port number, so it's port 6432 in my case. Then you will have a space, then you will have the next designator, which is -U. -U stands for username. You will then put in your username, dot, which is the concatenator for the worker name, and then -P, which is the expected password. Okay, it might sound really difficult. So what we've done is we've created our username. So my username when I signed up was R Murphy, so I will put that in, R Murphy. My worker name, do you remember what I called my worker name? Yep, BCC1. So the worker, you just need to edit this file and go BCC1, and then the password, if I remember it rightly, I think I called it demo1. So I will put in my password, and that is all I need. So what I need to do now is save that. I can save it as anything as long as I call it a .bat file. So if I go save as, I'm going to call this demo. So I call it demo.bat. Okay, so if I go save and get rid of this, so it's no longer a text file, it's now a batch file, a Windows batch file. So if I now double click on this, it will now open up. So this is a very simple textual application. It doesn't have a GUI, it's all text, but it doesn't need to do anything other than mine. So it's said here already, it says no devices found. Press M and plus to add. So I'm going to press the letter M, and it says no devices, plus to add a device, or enter to close the device manager. So I'm going to use the plus, so I'm going to go shift and equals, which is my plus side, and then it says enter auto, all, or serial port to probe for mining devices. So I know that I have an active GPU, so I'm just going to put in auto, and then enter, and it's now going to search. So it's now searched and found a processor to use, and this is my GPU. So there we go, we've started mining already based on those credentials. So that was it, that was the simple part of mining, as long as you get the steps correct. So you need to download the BFG miner, you need to unpackage it, you need to put in that code, which is the equivalent of the which tells you on your particular mining pool. You need to just double click and open up the application, and then you need to find your hardware by going to M and then saving auto, and then it will automatically start. So I'm automatically starting now. Okay, so device scan has succeeded and I am now mining, and it will tell you, it tells you your temperature. So temperature of my GPU has gone up now from 55 degrees to 64 degrees centigrade. Tells me the block it's working on currently, the difficulty level 2.81 million. The pool is 20.1 terahashes per second, so I'm one of those people now. So the default settings are quite tame, and they set the default intensity levels very tame because they don't want to break your hardware. Now I know I have one of the top of the range GPUs. My graphics card is a bit of a killer beast, and it's also, I've got two of them on this machine and they're both water cooled, so I can afford to knock it up a notch. Now my PC is running pretty quiet at the moment, but if I go back down to M, okay, which is the managed devices, and then I go to, if you look over here, it says D disable, I intensity, R restart, C change settings. Okay, if I go I and I just type in I, it will give me my GPU scan intensity, and it's from a scale of 8 to 20. Now D means default, it means it sets it to 8. So maybe I will set it now to 18. So just watch here the temperature of my CPU and the amount of hashing power I'm doing. I'm going to now set it to 18, and I'm going to push enter now. 68 degrees. Now I can already hear that I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone just yet, but it's now starting to kick in. The fan is getting faster, the temperature is getting higher. So luckily I have a water cooled system, so be really careful. If you change the intensity on your miner, it will change it as high as you set it. And if that setting is higher than your graphics card, you will burn your graphics card out, okay? Most graphics cards can handle 12 and no higher. So if you're going to increment it and try it higher, it'll probably, you know, if you do it at one setting at a time, start at 10, then 11, then 12, then 13. Figure out something that works best for you but is stable. Now I know I can set this to 20 and it will work all day long, but you can probably hear now as this temperature goes higher, that the sound of my fan, my cooling system, it's now 78 degrees, is getting louder and louder, and I'm having to talk louder and louder to be heard. So I'll leave that running for a little bit, but I am still mining. So that is how you mine Bitconnect coin. Okay, you go back to your system and you should be able to see in real time, if you set it up properly, your workers. So if you go to dashboard, now I haven't tested this recently, all these pools are different. So it takes a little while, so it takes those blocks. So you can see that I've started hashing here, and then after the 2 minutes is up, it will give you your average hash rate over a period of time. So it tells you how many workers are connected. There's currently 4,741 workers here. The hash rate for the pool, and it will tell you your share. So the more powerful that your GPU is, it will give you your percentage share of anything that the pool mines. And there you go. So you get the mining. Once you get mining, you may have to leave it a day or two. You will get a share rate of any discoveries that the pool has made, and you will get that directly into your wallet on a daily basis, based on what you've set your share rate or your auto pay rate as. So there you go. So let's have a look at how this is doing. It's still at 78 degrees. I wonder if we can change the intensity up a little bit more. So we go I, 20. There you go, it's just stepped up a notch again. It's 79 degrees now. So it's starting to get a little bit hot. And it's now really pumping out some heat and some noise. So that is how you mine Bitconnect. So if you've got any question about mining, remember I'm going to stick those scripts at the bottom. so that you can actually play around with them. I'll give you the default worker and the default username, and all you have to do is copy and paste that link into your script. Remember, save it as whatever it is .batch, and that is what you click to enable your mining. So let's just change this down and change the intensity down so we can hear each other. So I'm going to go I8, enter. And all's gone quiet and serene again, and now the temperature's coming down. So don't forget, don't kill your CPU or your GPU. You will need to use it to actually log in every day and do your reinvest. So there you go. Got any questions? Let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Roy Murphy. You've been watching the Bitconnect YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.
This video was brought to you by Team Smurf. We bring you new videos each and every day. To join our team, click the referral link below this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and interact with us in the comments box below. Bitconnect, creating wealth for everyone.